All right. Up here at the top right, he's lost 3 games so far today. He's trying to get 1 win at least.
13 ace.
And, you know, if he does get a victory here, I think it might be a little bit too bittersweet, too much on the bitter side for him to do a ceremony. But here's his opponent. If he can win this game, he'll get a pretty decent position in the group at 2-1.
Otis InCa.
Right, InCa's at 1-1 right now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and so if he does that, then actually that will make it an interesting situation where Sniper will play Lenok next, and you know, if Sniper wins that, then he advances.
Yeah.
And then this game doesn't actually matter. But if Sniper loses that ZVZ, then it will actually be Ganji versus InCa in the final game. And then that will determine who advances, because it'll be the tiebreaker as well as the
You're exactly right.
match. So that's kind of interesting. So, but it all comes down to this match. I mean, if InCa loses this, then he'll still have a chance later on, versus depending on how Ganji does, depending on how Sniper does. But he will have a. Actually, let me think.
Right now,
yeah, it'll still work out either way.
InCa or Ace has a very much faster cybernetics core than his opponent. It's about, I believe, approximately 8 to 10 in-game seconds faster. That can be important. And he has shown and taken a second gas right before his opponent's eyes. InCa, on the other hand, is making a second gateway with no second gas just yet. And will be taking a second gas soon. There it is. So he's going to be doing a very standard 3-stalker rush build with normal timed second gas. The second gas for Ace is super quick. And in fact, Ace right now has scouted his opponent's gas timing, and that's going to make him feel very comfortable. He's going to be like, oh, you only have 2 gates. Your chrono boosting warp gate research, that fact might scare him a little bit, but he's pretty much safe against anything, and he got away with the faster second gas, so he's going to be feeling pretty happy and confident about that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what he's been doing. He's like, sweet, got that.
Good stuff. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was actually still doing some more math in my head, trying to figure out how that works. I believe the last, depending on how things go between Sniper and Lenok, the last match is going to determine things one way or another. But I guess then if Sniper beat Ganji actually, so I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it all out later. Point being, even if this match doesn't matter for either player that much in the grand scheme of things, they're still going to be trying their hardest here. That's something important to remember, that their pride is still on the line, and they're still going to be trying to compete as hard as they can regardless of the situation. Stalker coming in for InCa to push back Ace's Stalker. He says, get off my probe.
Yeah, and a third gateway going down for InCa right now. As he moves out with just his 3 Stalkers and a probe, he may try to put on some pressure here. He's chrono boosting warp gate research again. He's trying to catch his opponent off guard and punishing him for taking that faster second gas. And this is kind of risky. The chrono boost for Ace being used now on an observer. He does have 1 sentry, but just 1. If he uses warp ends on anything else besides sentries right now, well, he's going to try to run up here and dash past the force field.
Well, 1 Stalker gets past. He's trying to target down enemy Stalker and just loses his own. So decent idea there. Didn't quite work out. InCa taking a little bit of a disadvantage in that situation. Immortal is on the way now for Ace, and once that is up, he's going to be in good shape. Oh, doesn't want to lose that sentry. Cannot lose that sentry. It is so low on health. It has 1 force field left in it, and he needs that force field if InCa's going to continue to pressure, but he actually might not continue to pressure.
Yeah, I think he's going to make us Nexus very soon.
Yeah.
He needs to do something like that. He's actually making a sentry now to contain his opponent, and I'll be so surprised if he doesn't make a Nexus. He's going to make a Twilight Council. Okay. Wants to get Blink to try to counterattack his opponent. Problem is, this is a really bad map for Blink counterattacks. You can't really blink into your opponent's main because there's only 2 locations where you can blink in, and they're both very easy to defend.
Yeah, they're both next to the ramp anyway, so as long as you're defending the ramp, you're going to be able to defend that blink in relatively well.
Nexus does go down in plain sight of the Observer. Robotic support bay now on the way for Ace and a Warp Prism.
Interesting.
A lot of potential for Immortal drops in this matchup.
Does he just has the one Immortal out so far,
2.
right? Oh, he does have 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we might see him go for even the speed upgrade on the Warp Prism.
Entirely possible, you're exactly
to
right.
have much more maneuverability with those Immortal drops. And Ace losing a lot of pylons around the map.
Oh, what? INCA, that spells InCa.
That spells Dark Templar. Oh, goodness.
He is hiding it here, actually right next to where the pylon he just killed
Oh,
was.
InCa.
Now with this, he can actually do a lot of harassment.
Now, this is interesting. He has a robotics facility, but does he have an observer on the map? I think he has one, right?
But he has not made a second one. He's also getting Blink as well, so he's still using that to like also observer or Immortals are dropping in here. He's getting the Warp Prism speed right now. Does kill a pylon and gets out.
Very nice. Gets out, and that was a good moment to get out as well. Now, InCa's Dark Shrine is about 3/4 complete, but Ace has gotten his expansion up. He does have I think his observer is, well, actually it was next to his main, but I believe he's moved it out on the map. No, it's in InCa's main now.
Yeah, so
and he's producing a Colossus, so
it just depends on how many Dark Templar he warps in. If he warps in 3, he can go kill one structure of his choice, basically. And if he goes for anything less than 3, then he probably can kill a structure. He's going to go for 2. And if his opponent makes an observer right now just kind of randomly, then he'll be fine. But otherwise, he'll lose either a robo, robotic support bay, potentially a gateway, but I don't think he'll target that, or a lot of probes. That's also possible.
He might go for the robotics facility because then if there's not an observer on the map, he wins.
Yeah. But he knows there's an observer, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
He's just going to go for probes here.
That's I think, probably the best choice.
And there's no second observer being chrono boosted out. He's actually going to go ahead and go for the Colossus, knowing the observer that he does have is on the map. He's actually sending it home.
Now he makes an observer there.
Decent amount of probes going down here, but see, the thing is, if you go for probes, your opponent can just run them away, and then you don't necessarily get anything. He's going for a robotic support bay, but he's hesitating. I just don't like this.
For the probe. The probe hides in the assimilator. And the observer pops out. And that is going to be the end of that Dark Templar. Second one has run down to see if there was a third base and is now running back up. And is going to die. Just a moment. What? Where did the observer go? Thought he had an observer there.
He does have an observer. He just he wanted to save the sentry, I guess. So I don't know why he forced it. Actually, it doesn't make any sense. But
yeah, that was a little strange since he kept the DT out of his main where the observer was, where he could kill the DT.
A little interesting tidbit: the Dark Templar and the probe have the same movement speeds. That's why that probe that Dark Templar was chasing was able to escape just barely. And this Warp Prism will spot the Dark Shrine at the top.
Oh, did he actually see it?
Yeah, he saw it.
That'd be kind of cute to go ahead and drop that Immortal out and kill the Dark Shrine. That's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, it has so few hit points.
Very cool. It's gonna that way he doesn't have to worry about it anymore in the future.
Unfortunately for him, a Dark Templar gets warped in.
Well, okay.
The Dark Templar slash does activate the hardened shields.
Yeah.
It's quite the strong attack. Could have tried to use the Warp Prism micro and kill it anyways, but that just wasn't necessary.
That would have been awesome.
He actually probably wants his opponent to warp in Dark Templar at this point for how easy it is for him to defend that.
That's actually true. Well, the thing is I would be more worried about him being able to have Archons later on.
Well, that's exactly what he's going to use with the 5 Dark Templar he has out right now. He's going to try to hit with the timing right now with Charged Zealots. And he does have a 6th one coming in, so he will have 3 Archons here. But with the amount of Colossi he has, and InCa, or rather Ace is building a building wall, I think Ace will actually defend this.
Yeah, probably. Although, InCa does have an expansion of his own, so it's not like it's going to lose too much.
Well, the problem is, it's so important.
He
has to do something here because his opponent is getting the Colossi count too high. And once you get to a certain number of Colossi, no matter what your opponent has, it doesn't matter. He's even making a 2nd robotics right now, so he has to do something with this push. If he just goes home and just allows his opponent to get better Colossus count than him, then he loses, and he's actually just going to do just that. I mean, He's going home and making a robotic support bay and his own second robo.
He's going to make a third base. That's what it looks like he's going to do.
He needs to do that, but even if he does, it's going to be so hard to hold. This is what he needs to do. He needs to do something. He's chosen the risk now. He's not going to go for the attack. He saw his opponent's wall, and he's just going to go for the third instead. Now, if Ace sits back and he is allowed to get the third, he might be able to, with that third base economy, outproduce him in Colossi, or he might be able to get a similar count, and then if he just out-micros him slightly, he might have a chance. So he's not out of this yet. In fact, he's up in supply right now. The worker count dead even at 52. The Zealot count for InCa at 19. So if they fought out in the middle of the map right now, InCa would win the fight because he has so many Zealots. But when his opponent has the defender's advantage, he will absolutely crush the army. And in the middle of the map, when the Colossus count gets just a little bit higher, it's going to be tough as well.
And I like how he has that Warp Prism in the back, waiting to go in at the opportune moment. He's going to send in some Zealots into the main at some point. InCa must have smelled it because he actually sent all of his units back to this main to stop that, but didn't actually go in. InCa finally now making that expansion. He's had the minerals for it for a long time, so I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't make that expansion until just now. And that is bought more time for Ace to be producing extra Colossus. Now, InCa has got a double Robo going now, though, so he could catch up in the Robo count. I'm sorry, in the Colossus count. Wait, no, maybe
they're both going double Robo.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But he's getting +2 right now for his Colossi, and if he has even 2 more Colossi with +2, it's just going to make such the difference. Ace still down in supply. His Colossus count should theoretically be at least 2 higher than his opponent's at all times, though. Because, well, hold that thought, some Zealot harassment here, he's going to damage that economy pretty heavily. Because with the third base being up for InCa, if he doesn't make a third Robo, he's never going to outproduce his opponent in Colossus. Even a 2-base economy can constantly produce 2 Colossi at a time out of 2 Robos. He's making some Immortals, interestingly enough, though.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a little bit strange, but in the Colossus versus Colossus battle,
Immortals can come in handy,
Immortals are definitely handy, and it's also going to make it so that it's harder and more risky for your opponent to try and blink on top of your Colossus and pick them off or something like that.
With Warp Prism's speed, he can use the Immortals and position them anywhere he wants them to be when the battle occurs.
That's true.
He still has that Warp Prism down at the bottom of the map with the Zealots in it. The Dark Shrine remains alive as well. As you guys have seen, he's tried to use the Dark Templar a few times for harassment purposes. Hasn't really accomplished very much. Well, High Templar warping in here for Ace. He's looking to get some Archons into his mix as well. And he has +3 on the way right now. 1-1 on the way for Ace as he continues his reign of double forges for the night.
He's like, all right, well, I am so far behind in upgrades right now. Maybe in about 10 minutes I'll be able to catch up and get 3-3 at the same time if I can double him. But
+1 armor is so useless in this matchup too. I mean, compared to the others, it's the only matchup where it's just not that useful.
Yeah, the damage output is so high in each individual attack that
you have very few double
reducing
attacks.
it by 1 is not going to help. Yeah, and here comes some more harassment, but those cannons there. But he might target down the forges. A warp in immediately by InCa. He's going to thwart that. And I mean, here's the thing, InCa, like you were talking about earlier, he kind of had the advantage there, and he went home with it because he couldn't bust Ace's wall, but he didn't make the expansion at that time, and InCa has pretty much gotten his expansion of only about 20 or 30 seconds ahead of Ace, so they're still pretty even in that count. Ace does have a little bit less supply at this point.
InCa has passed him in Colossus count, but the 6 Immortals
But he's got 6 Immortals, yeah.
But even with those Immortals, with the amount of charged Zealots that InCa has, I'm not sure if the Immortals will ever be able to really target Colossi. He has like 22 Zealots.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, it might turn out to be a situation where the beginning of the battle, seems to be going well for InCa until all of those Zealots melt to Colossus, and then he might turn it around with the Immortals. Is what I foresee happening. Because,
the Archon...
Because with the amount of Colossus he has, he should be able to kill 22 Zealots pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, but those few shots will be more significant than you think. I don't know exactly how this battle's going to go. It's all going to come down to positioning concaves.
Yeah, exactly.
And where the Immortals are. And it looks like InCa's going to get the better end of this battle if it occurs. Definitely having the better engagement, or the better positioning there, forcing his opponent back. The Zealot harassment around the map is killing all the stationary pylons InCa has put the spot for drops and things like that.
Yeah, with the Archons there as well.
Oh, look at this. There's a Stargate on the production tab. We're going to see a mothership.
Oh, I just feel like Ace has the better composition. I feel like the Zealots are not going to be nearly as useful as the Archons and Immortals. Especially since he has 5 or 6 Archons now, so those Archons are going to be able to stand in front and take the Zealots pretty easily. I don't know, man. It's gonna be difficult because you're right. InCa does have the superior Colossus count. That is often the killer move there. And yeah, lead peeking now for Ace.
Throwing away some probes. He knows that's useless supply for him. Another Nexus going down. A huge warping of Zealots for Ace. He's going to probably just try to target down this Nexus.
Ace has +3 weapons already. He has a second force as well. He's getting armor and shields now at the same time. And while InCa falls back to deal with this harassment, Ace is moving into position outside of his 4th. I think if that army moves into the 3rd, he may attack the 4th. Is he going to do it?
Go for this. This is a terrible position.
Oh, no.
The Archon's doing so much, and the Zealots tanking. This is what I was talking about. Those Zealots tanking so much, allowing him to close the distance here. And look at this Colossus concave.
Wow.
InCa, even though he's down on supply, should be able to take out the majority of these Colossi as they retreat. More Warpins coming in for Ace, but he has lost a huge position.
Yeah, you were totally right about that. It did come down to the Colossus count. He couldn't actually engage. I mean, when I was kind of arguing for him, I was just kind of hoping that he would somehow be able to pull something off, but he couldn't engage.
The Zealots just tanked too many hits, and now Ace does have the better upgrades for a little bit of time here. The probes are tanking some damage, and Ace is able to get some free Colossus hits on the Archons as he warps some more units.
Yep, now it's just down to Colossus versus Colossus. No extraneous units left.
This is the closest I've ever seen a PvP
Micring
battle
is Colossus with the Warp Prism as well. Another Immortal comes out. 2 Immortals come out, and actually that is going to be enough to make InCa think twice about pressing the advantage that he has. And at the end of it, InCa only ahead by 10 supply.
I have never seen a PvP late game battle go so closely in my entire casting career.
Well,
usually it's so one-sided. It was just so close.
Here's another thing that happened during that. Remember, those Zealots were attacking InCa's 3rd. InCa's at 36 probes right now.
We'll hold that thought. We're going to have another battle here, and InCa is engaging this, not with the best concave, but it looks like his Colossus count here is just going to be too superior. He's trying to dodge the Immortal shots with the Warp Prism. It's not going to be enough, though. GG.
And so
Ace goes 0-4, and InCa. And InCa has got to be feeling pretty good about that one. That was a close call. Playing from behind, a little bit of passivity I feel from Ace, and I don't like Ace's decision to try to switch up his composition a little bit. He got his own charge, and I don't know how I feel about him trying to get charged with that few Zealots, and he cut some Colossi here and there. His defense against the Dark Templar was pretty good.
Well, it basically came down to he cut Colossus and made Immortals instead. And you're right. I mean, those, and he didn't have a very good concave either. Like you were talking about, it came down to the positioning a lot. And
the Zealots just tank so many shots. If your opponent has a Colossus advantage, even if he has that, if all of his Colossi shots are wasted on Zealots and your Colossi shots are hitting his Colossi, it does not matter.
Well, and then also part of what he had going for him was those 6 Immortals. And so they were kind of in the front. The Zealots did melt pretty quickly, but they did, like you said, tank enough damage. And what happened then was that all those Immortals were sitting in the front, and the 8 Colossus were like, nope, now your Immortals are gone, and don't you wish those were Colossus now?
Yeah.
Because the Immortals, they just died so quickly. They were also clumped up, and with the good Colossus concave of InCa, he killed the Immortals before they were able to do enough damage to be worth their cost.
The Colossus count was always almost the same, but the key was there was support for the Colossi of InCa, whereas Ace was like trying to micro his Colossi back. He was trying to walk it up that like center of the cliff, but it was like the Colossus was like, no, I can't step over this, and he was like, and then he just died to another Colossus shot. I mean, that was an awkward engagement. I don't know why Ace even committed to that battle in the first place.
No, I don't either.
And I think he thought his opponent was split up because of the Zealot harassment, but he wasn't.
Well, that was an interesting thing. As I was talking about at the time, I was like, well, he's going to wait for him to come back to defend this 3rd, and then he's going to attack. But he must have said, all right, well, I don't see his army. he must be on his way to the third, so now is a good time to attack. Oh, it's his army there. I have to engage. I've already started. I think it was an okay idea because the Zealots did a ton of damage to that third, and if the game had gone on any longer, Ace would have had a much bigger economy. But anyway, we're going to have another game now between Sniper and Leenock, the only ZVZ of the night.
Yeah.
And by the way, those blue dots next to the white dots do not mean anything about the score. They're just decorative. So Leenock is actually at 3-0, and Sniper is at 2-1 right now. And this could determine the entire group right here, because if Sniper wins, he's 3-1, and Leenock's 3-1, they both advance. If Leenock wins, he's 4-0. Sniper goes to 2-2, and then we'll have to play another game, I believe. We'll have to do the math on that, but
I think you're right.
I think we'll have to play one more game in order to decipher who wins. So let's get into the game. A Zerg versus Zerg. Here's GSL.
Up and down matches for Season 2 of 2012 with Wolf and Mole Trap
On March 13th.